let's start doing this. Good morning. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com, as I try to, on my way to work, Philadelphia area, folks, you know what it is. Gonna jump right into it. Folks, my book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, is on Amazon. The Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. Go to Amazon, get that book. It's about $16, $17. We do adjust the cost for inflation, so you will see the price change from time to time to cover cost of materials and such. So I talked previously in other videos about your network is your net worth, right? We discussed that, I think, till we're blue in the face. And it's interesting, I did a free mentoring call to a young man who's a client of mine and have done different types of business dealings with. And shout out to him, though, because one of the things that I see with him that I see with many of the younger generation is the scarcity mindset of reaching out to the, I want to say, older generation, or such people as myself, who are in the position to be able to become mentors. And part of that mentorship is gathering or getting an assessment. Look at this right here. What in the freak are you doing? I mean, what in the, oh my goodness, man. The value of one's own life is at an all-time minimum in this world. All-time minimum. Or maybe that's just the way it's always been. Well, we're going to move on. Let me adjust my heating settings here. Almost getting in an accident 2 minutes into the video. Well, like I was saying, the reaching out to mentors is, I mean, you can see that it's just not happening, man. And the young man reached out to me, but a lot of times, maybe some of the reservations about reaching out to be mentored is because that mentorship gurus and all of this stuff is pushed on you, that a lot of times young people are getting their information from social media without an additional physical interaction. What do I mean by that? And as you can see, folks, I'm right here in your rear view on the left side of the screen, upper left-hand corner, right here in the left side. What I mean by that is that they are getting programs or information that is being disseminated to them or given to them from an online digital platform source. They're learning and teaching and training from an online platform or a digital source where they get their information from. But there's no classroom setting for them. And that's one of those things that we've seen about with the pandemic. The removal and going to a virtual setting still required children to have some physical interaction. And without the physical interaction, the human condition is not meant to just be into the digital world alone. We are physical bodies. We have 5 senses, you know, if you want to be metaphysical more than that. But those senses have to be, if those are not satisfied, then things will go awry. We need social interaction. We need sometimes social contact, meaning sometimes it has to be physical contact, not in a negative connotation, but sometimes, you know, interacting with kids, running, pushing, disagreeing and arguing, even the negative components is part of the human condition to develop a human being to be like on a chemical level, and a spiritual and physical and emotional balancing happens when those interactions are all satisfied. This is the reason why we live on a planet and we don't live in a construct of a fully submersible digital world. So no matter how much you try to put people into that, the mind desires touch, physical stimulation through the senses. So, and you get your information online, but your real world practice is severely lacking. And in my mentorship call, you can see people who have the process down, they have the plan down, but they do not know how to formulate and initiate, implement, and execute plans because they are lacking the physical component. I'll give you an example. Some person has a business idea. They get all the business training, they get all the business degrees, the online schooling, but at the same time, they never utilize their network of associates within their reach to promote a business that they're developing. All their information is gotten from a process given by someone who probably more than likely stands to benefit from you following that process monetarily, because it requires you to take more courses, more classes from them. And it is not a step-by-step how-to, it is a step-by-step what you should do. There's a difference. And on my mentoring call, and again, I want to say that one of the beautiful things that I do get blessed with is the opportunity to help young people. And I don't always charge, but at the point where it becomes like last night, I had 2 calls, one for saving a life and one for changing a life. 2 separate calls. I had to make sure I saved the patient's life even though I'm off work. That's the beauty of having me as a nurse. And I do appreciate that ability to be able to save a life, because lives are on the line with what I do. They are. And futures are on the line with what I do as well, because I have my children's future on the line. So I had to save a life and I had to help change a future. And the young man reached out to me to ask about mentorship, how much it would have cost and things like that. But I wanted to get on the phone with him now. And when you're a mentor, you have to spend time. This is an 1.5-hour call, but you got to spend time listening to understand where a young person is at. And when I say young, I'm talking about anybody under 30. I would consider that a young person. I wouldn't consider a 35-year-old a young person, not because they're not young. I just mean that they should be at some midpoint in their plan, getting their plan moving to where they're headed in life. But a young person's still trying to figure it out. They should have just moved out of their parents' house, be getting into their first apartment. They're having the journey into what is true manhood or adulthood if they're a woman. Adulthood. That journey is in the process of evolving and beginning. With that being said, reaching out, I needed to ascertain. And this is one of the reasons why those first calls generally cost you money up front. They're not free. It's because you can't, a lot of times people that are mentoring cannot give enough value in that one call to say, hey, if you feel like you need more, now it's going to cost you. That's what I do. I give you so much that you can work with that I probably will need to talk to you for 3 months or 6 months just from a free conversation from me, because like I said about this channel, I've got more to give. When you're a one-trick pony or a one-off, then a lot of times you gotta slow roll and slow walk that information out, because it's only a limited amount. A lot of creatives are not constantly evolving in their creative models because they're simply not creative. You got a lot of people talking about the same things. If you go on 5 different channels, you see people having the same 5 different conversations. They become the digital news for us. And sometimes they'll trickle in value, but a lot of times they can't just talk about the same thing no one else is talking about, or their own thing. Their news is the news. Their information is the news of the day, and their assessment or take on it, which pretty much means you're just watching modern day news. That's it. Which eventually will go the same way that the lack of interest of the regular news goes. Terrestrial news has gone. It eventually will peter out. Or it'll coalesce into just some big channels that can only talk about it because they have the audience to grab that level of attention. But again, in that consultation, what I'm doing is learning from a potential student. You're going to mentor somebody. It takes time to really understand what's going on in their lives, why they're making the decisions they're making, and it's a mindset assessment on where they're at, where their mental focus is. And if you talk to a lot of young people, they've got 5 different plans going on at the same time. They're trying to follow a model that has already been laid out. Like if you look at someone who has like 5 channels for a YouTube channel, they're doing moderately well. They've got coaching, they have students, they have Sunday mindset streams, things like that. That is a person who has a final product that is continuing to evolve the services they have. And that's a great setup, man. Shout out to CGA on that one. But in order to replicate his success, you got to start with one lane only. And a lot of young people are trying to do that. I do gaming, I do this, I do that, and they haven't concentrated on one thing in total. They're spreading themselves out. And when I asked, I said, well, how many of these things are monetized? You know? And one of the good things about it is that I had to say no to something that would benefit me. You know, come work with me in one area of the business that I work with where I could make money off of a person. And I said, no, man, I don't think that's it. Because I'm here as a mentor. I'm not here to find a way for you to benefit me everlastingly. I don't sell land like that. I don't do business like that. That's not me. It's not to keep you under my thumb. If you're working within my organization, that's a different story, because I'm looking to keep you here, keep you employed, so the business can be successful. And your term of employment, your length of employment, is an indication of my trust and belief in what you're doing, because you're showing me results. That's where you have to keep people at. And when people are not giving you the results, you got to press them. You got to press them. You got to let them go. You got to tell people that they're on notice. You got to tell people that you need results, because a lot of times people will become complacent in even achieving their goals. Yes, they will. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. They will become complacent in achieving their own goals. You know, and you go through the process with them, and you're asking them, well, I've got this plan, that plan, this plan, that plan. And you got to kind of narrow them down. Okay, but why didn't you do step? Okay, you got this plan. Why didn't this plan work out? Okay, what about this one? Why didn't that work out? And what you see is they've got a lot of things that they're formulating, and they haven't buckled down into that one thing. This is where mentorship, a proper mentor, you start to kind of narrow their focus. But you got to listen and understand, because, you know, we went through all the different levels of things that they have going on, and it's like none of those things are monetized. And I said, you know, one of the things that Coach Greg Adams talks about that I love that he talks about is building skill sets. That is so true. You need to build skill sets. You do. Absolutely. But the one thing that got misinterpreted in that is that young people sometimes interpret that as the skill set is doing a new thing. And I told him, I said, you need to build skill sets. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams again. But you need to build skill sets that are aimed at revenue producing streams of income. I'm going to say that one more time. You need to build skills, like skill sets, like Coach Greg Adams does. You can know how to do hair, braid hair, but it needs to be in line with building a business or a source of income that is around, it needs to be in line with building that skill as a source of income for you, a revenue stream. How that happens, I'm not going to get into those details, but I'm going to say whether that's you doing hair care classes, that you teaching hair care, you are advertising hair care products in the form of sponsorship or affiliate links, you got to find a way to turn that skill in a way that can be monetized. And I'm not talking about social media monetized. I'm talking about monetized where people can pay you or buy from you something that was not always require you to be there in order for it to exist. You know, that's one of my things about these 9-to-5 jobs is that I have to be here in order to get paid. I can use PTO, but that's built upon my actual work hours. And that has a finality. It does. It means that eventually those hours will run out before I do. If I, healthy living, strong living long. those hours, those personal time off hours, or PTO, are not given to me in perpetuity. I just don't get them forever, even if I'm working or not working. So you need to find a way to generate income that you can get paid literally while you sleep. And what does that mean is that you got to start with $1 and you got to work your way up. I'm doing another mentor training on Friday with a different individual. He's been featured in some of my videos most recently. He's an author. But again, we are going to sit down and talk because he wants to learn video editing. But if you have a YouTube channel, we need to look at how your channel's performing. An assessment needs to be done. And again, am I going to get paid for that? Absolutely, because I've already done the free work and all the idea building and all the upfront gifts have been given. When I say gifts, I don't mean inducement, which means that I'm trying to lure someone into a service of mine. I'm just talking about that I give the gift of knowledge and the gift of being on the channel to get exposure and things like that. So when a person says, hey, I want you to teach me this, I'm going to set my price. And my price is my price. That's it. And again, they try to shortchange, I'll give you this amount. No, it's all due up front, whether the value is there or not. Because I've already shown that I can give you that and more. Because I don't have a half full tank that I'm trying to sell you as a full tank. I don't have a Ferrari that's a lemon and I'm trying to sell it to you and it's really a Chevy Nova. Shout out to the old school people who know what Chevy Nova is. I really have a assembly line of knowledge to give to you that is beneficial. And what I did was, in that conversation with the young man, is I kept going back to what do you need in order to achieve? What are the things holding you back from that? And when we get there, it's this first of all, the conversation about building skills that turn into revenue streams. That is where we really got on track with the conversation. If you're talking to young people, doing social media videos, that's cool and all. But if you're not getting paid for it, you don't need to make that your main thing. Now, everybody can't be an influencer, and everybody's not going to be, Club Shay Shay. It's not going to happen. Even I, as myself, am not dedicating myself to YouTube content creation in the form of primary income. It's not. It's a source of income, how small it is, but it is a source. Writing a book is another source or stream of income. So I'm promoting the book on my channel. I'm promoting the book out in the world. People find me. People see it on Amazon. There's so many ways to get that out there where I can get paid while I don't have to write the book again to get paid. I have to write the book every time to be paid from being an author. You write it one time, and now it's all about the endless line of promotion from year 1 to year 30. I have my 9-to-5 income, which we're driving to on this job right now. Another way to make income, I have land income. See where it starts going? It starts building up there. You need about 7, I'm going to say, adjusted for inflation, maybe 8 or 9 streams of income to get into a place where you can be financially set in the form of you're able to take on all things life would possibly throw at you. And don't forget, I'm a guy with 3 kids. 3 kids. 9, 7, and 18 months. I got little kids, man. In this time period. And it can be done, but income is the key. Streams of income is the key. And there are other investments that I have out there and things like that, but I don't count investments that require me to be hit with capital gains in order to count that as revenue. I don't count that. If it's not bringing me money right now, then pretty much what I have is something on speculation that the value is where it's at today, that's going to be there tomorrow. That's the problem I have with Bitcoin, is that everyone's talking about the value and this, and this, but if you can't afford your home and you're riding in a hoopie and you got 10 Bitcoins, I'm not really sure that that's where I want to put my money at. I'd rather change my life than say that I've got an investment that I can't sell. Because no one will sell it when it's this high. If they had it at 500 and you only have 1 Bitcoin, you can't sell it that way. I mean, no one's doing that. No one's cashing in their Bitcoin like that, unless they were in the beginning stages of Bitcoin. And most of the people you're talking to now, they can't afford to buy one share of a Bitcoin. They got to buy it in fractional shares. So what are we doing here, folks? You know, there's tons of other stocks where you can make margins, but everyone is riding in on something where the real people that are going to make the money from Bitcoin are the people who were the early investors that got in super early. Because if they got 10 or 12 or 100 Bitcoin, then they literally can offload Bitcoin as it's rising, and that can adjust market prices, correct or incorrect. So again, as we talk further, I had to pin them down on why, you know, getting into another area or another stream of income that still requires you to have like the 9-to-5 presence, meaning that you got to be there in order to generate the income. Like, you already have that. You know, you're going back into that again. I need to get over, lady. Thank you. My signal light is on way far enough. Let me in. Thank you. So there's way more than enough room here. And that again is dependent upon, you know, and that's the thing about, you take a second job, right? That's what we're kind of going towards. You take a second job. Now you're making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 extra a month, okay, to your regular income, and you're trying to use that second job to fund in and capitalize to your business. Sounds great, but I always ask the question no one asks is, okay, but are you solely using it for that? Because people will say yeah, and then they actually start using it towards their lifestyle. Because don't forget, the Fed is not lowering interest rates, and if they don't, and inflation continues to be high, such as Jerome Powell has said in the previous meetings, they're tackling inflation, and inflation is still high, then inflation is eating away at your dollars and your purchasing power, which means you are more than likely going to use that second income to supplement what inflation is taking away from the first income. And most people in mentorship are not even factoring in lifestyle in discussing it, which means that a person is going to make adjustments to their primary life first, because it's a natural human thing to do. They're going to add to their lifestyle, because if they were all about doing that, they would have done this. They would have done this before they made lifestyle changes. You live in your mom's basement, build your business up, wait till it becomes successful, and move out when all checks are done. Now that might be because you wanted to get out, you know, the family's cramping your style, you got a girl, whatever the case is. But again, it speaks to that people will make lifestyle changes before they tend to make investment changes. Yes, they will. So you will go, and if you get an extra bill, your heating bill goes up. That money that you got that's extra from that second job that's supposed to go to your business will not go to the business. It will go to that light bill. Please believe that. It will go to my children's softball thing. You know, it's always going to go somewhere else before where you want it to go. So again, I center back in on, if you're really trying to start a business, you're going to have to do, what efforts are you making towards building that business? And it can't be, it's just a slow burn. And once we dive deeper, we're seeing that the reason why is that they're trying to catch a big fish every time. The low-hanging fruit is kind of scoffed at. And that happened with me in my land business. You know, getting the lots that I had was kind of like, no, you had to go for 2, 3, 4 acres. And I'm like, why, man? Not everybody wants 2, 3, 4 acres. Well, I don't want to deal with lots like, you know, where I have in California City. And they're like, why? Because they just don't sell enough. There's not any skin in the game. Well, that's because your strategy is not there. And these are people looking to make 15, 20,000 off of a land purchase. Well, I don't need that up front. I could just, you know, I already have a job. I could do I could get $5,000 worth of profit and be okay, and leave somebody with skin on the bone, because it wasn't about just making sure I've lined my own pockets. So, and I'm asking the young man about, hey, why not the low-hanging fruit? What's wrong with that? Well, it's a one-off, and you only get that one. It's not reoccurring. And I'm like, okay, but how many people do you have now that have been clients? 0. Well, 1 sounds better than 0. I said a one-off sounds better than a none-off. You know, we laughed. because you don't have anything. And again, it's this younger generation. This is where mentorship comes in, because you change the mindset to saying, well, I mean, you don't have any results to be picky. This is like, dating a girl who looks good and be like, I'm too good for that guy, I'm too good for this guy. Well, baby, you ain't got no man, so it look like you good for nobody but yourself. Or you're a college prospect. You got all these schools coming to you, and you're looking for the one school to send you that contract. Well, man, because it's not a D1, whatever, NEC or, I don't know, whatever league there is that they're not a SEC championship team. And, okay, man, you got the scholarships you got right now, man. Get one of them. Go see a school and see if it changes your mind. They're trying to take down the heaviest whale, Moby Dick, instead of the one that's 5 pounds less heavier, one that's a little less white than Moby Dick. You know what I mean? Like you're going after the unicorn instead of trying to take down the corral of horses there. If a unicorn's in the middle of 400 horses, well, once you start taking down 1, 2, 3, and you get about to 300, that unicorn's going to be back in sight again. And I'm like, well, but then again, that low-hanging fruit, those one-offs, you might be able to get some of those as reoccurring customers coming back to you at different time periods. That concept is sometimes foreign, or it loses people because no one's there mentoring them and telling them that you got to have a strategy to start out to get business. And when you do that, you can't be picky. The reason why that information is being sent to the young man in the way that go after the big fish is because, again, the person that is giving that information is not at the start. They're in the race. They're on whatever lap of the race that they are in. They're not at the beginning. They've already circled the track already. They're already on the second leg of the mile telling you how to run the race from where they're at, not where you are. And that's what I'm trying to get the young man to say, is that you start there. Figure out a way to get some income coming in and start. You're figuring out ways to try to fund it and do this, and I'm like, well, then your aim needs to be raised at getting capital. I can go do it to get another job. Yeah, you could do that, or you could find a way to get capital, in a business standpoint. And then we look at the network again. Who have you reached out to within your network? No one. Well, brother, man, hey, we got some work to do. Another job is not the answer. You haven't failed at trying. You haven't failed at trying. You haven't tried and failed. You failed at trying. That's what happened there. You have not tried and failed. You have not exhausted all efforts. You have not gone through your network of resources. You have not gone to the people and take advantage of opportunity of Chamber of Commerce members and sat shoulder to shoulder with people trying to present your product or your services. What you have done is you have a failure to launch. And we need to work on that so the conversation went towards, aimed at that goal. Because again, they're making 3 lefts trying to get to the right side, and I'm like, why don't you just make a right? Well, I can't make a right turn because this is a roadblock. Well, how about you move some of that stuff out the way? And again, you gotta really get people down to that level, not because they don't have the knowledge, but you've got to present it to them, because sometimes people just are not thinking that way. This is why you need a meeting of the minds. This is why you need mentorship. And it's a beautiful thing, because you can, when you sit down, and this happens when you're a parent too, man. That's why I said, spend time to talk to your kids. Your kids are adults, but you're not talking to your children. You're not asking about their plans. You're not taking time to listen to them. You're not sitting down and spending these moments to help them on their way, to provide them value based upon you being a person that can mentor them. It's not what I want him to do that we're working on. It's how can we help him achieve his goals. So my advice, my conversation is steered to that. I'm trying to make sure what I say is in line with what he is trying to have as an outcome, not what I think is best for him. And my question is, why are you not using your network? Your network is your net worth, but why are you not utilizing your network? Why are you not reaching out to people and doing that? And what we have is a failure to launch because, again, everything is digital. You'll get on there and talk on a screen to get views and followers, but you got people right there in the business chamber of commerce, people right there in your mindset group, people right there in your social network that you don't talk to and explain to them what's going on, what you're trying to do. You're not using your network resourcefully. And that's what I'm asking. Like, why are you not using your network? What do you got a network for if you're not going to utilize it? I know what you're looking at me for, lady. I'm coming to a stop. Maybe get them headphones out your hand and that cigarette out your hand. Stop looking like a daggone. I ain't going to go there. Looking at me like, you know, I'm the problem. Can you see me in the mirror? Like I'm a problem here. Like I'm already coming to a stop. I'm not trying to run you over here. You know what I mean? Any which way. What I'm gonna finally say, folks, again, my book is on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirty, Beginner's Guide to Vacant and Land Investing. I just want to continue to reiterate again, folks, that your network is your net worth, right? But it's not a holdings account. Your network is what you need to use as resources to build your business. And how do you do that? You become useful to the group. You got to start having some successes, but you got to get people who are able to talk to you, man. You got to be sitting there willing to listen to people who have success and the success that you want. Can't listen to people who always, they have nothing but they've been successful through just failures. You got to have people who are taking on the things that you want to take on in life and have the things that you want to have. Because being successful with wife and children is being different than being successful on your own. The moment you have a child, you're going to have another full-time job, another responsibility, and it's not easy. This person can never park. I can't understand this person, man. Sloppiest parking job as I know. How you doing, man? All right. Any which way, folks, I got to flip on another hat right now and go in and be the person that can hopefully save lives on this planet. Hopefully. Any which way, folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, ancestrylands.com, folks. I'm going to say this always again because I love saying this, man. You're going to own property or you're going to be owned as property. So when you take a listen, you see that right there? That's building right there. More commercial building going up. Go to ancestrylands.com, get yourself some property, folks. Own property or be owned as property. Phil Davis, and I'm out. Peace.
Are you confused with today's real estate market? With high interest rates and overpriced housing, it can be hard to find something to own at the right price. Available on Amazon, Getting Dollars from Dirt by author Philip H. Davis is a game-changing book that invites you to embark on a thrilling exploration of this often overlooked asset class. This book is your roadmap to unlocking the secrets of vacant land investment. Inside these pages, you will uncover the transformative power of vacant land as a wealth-building tool. Discover how to spot promising properties, assess their true value, and capitalize on market trends. From understanding zoning and permits to leveraging financing strategies, you will gain the knowledge and confidence to make savvy investment decisions. With each page you turn, you will gain a deeper understanding of the profound impact your investments can have on the world around you. Getting Dollars from Dirt is not just a guidebook, it's a call to action. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a curious novice, this book will empower you to tap into the immense potential of vacant land and embark on a journey toward financial freedom and a brighter future.